the panel is on how networks are getting transformed, how it is becoming more agile. So before we touch upon from your each organization's perspective, like how have you kind of strengthened your organization's network infra and make it more intelligent? I would like to take a step back and understand from you, both Krishnan sir and Gopi sir, that how has your network evolved to support the current enterprise trends that we are seeing? Has like earlier we used to see that it was from a simple Ethernet connectivity to a network that drives economy of not just the business but also public life at large. So, what's your has experience has been in all these years? So, Krishna sir, if you can start with you.
Sure, thank you, and good afternoon, all. Good evening, perhaps. Yes. And I'd start off by probably thanking the industry of home Wi-Fi providers for enabling me and my colleagues to be able to connect quite easily. And frankly, we were all pleasantly surprised that the work from home has gone much smoother than we might have ordinarily expected, given that these things never get tested at this scale, right? And almost overnight, with very short notice, we have all learned to use Hangout and WebEx and Zoom and everything else. And many of my colleagues are actually reporting far improved productivity, though maybe that's the initial rush, and maybe now the perspective may be different after so many days of lockdown. Having said that, our company has been in existence for 3 decades, and we have continuously kept pace with network trends. And today we have a mix. We have SD-WAN, MPLS, actually every form of networking that you could probably list. We have it in some form or the other. We have manufacturing plants all over the country. So we have one in Sikkim, one in Pantnagar. So there you don't have all the options that exist in other parts of the country. So we have to make do with what is available. So, and of course, as far as colleagues are concerned, all forms of wireless connectivity we do provide. And so therefore, really speaking, over and above the presentation that we already seen, I don't have much to add in terms of types of technologies that we use. We use them all, right? I do not know if your scope permits this, but I think it might be useful to examine the use cases that ride on these networks. Really speaking, that's really what the networks are for, to enable stakeholders to connect and engage usefully with each other, right? Usefully and efficiently. So today, and even before COVID, we have been steadily connecting all our partners upstream, downstream. So whether it's franchisees, warehouse, CFAs, and upstream to our vendors, our jewelry makers. So we have jewelry parks in which you have people who hand make our Tanishq jewelry ranges, and we have connectivity and Oracle running on top of that connectivity as well. And with customers now, obviously, as the stores open, we have to test our customers' willingness to land up as well. So we have gone very aggressively digital and virtual. So every form of interaction which was already on, we are simply accelerating. So whether it's WhatsApp chat, live chat, and obviously our websites, and we already rolled out augmented reality for eyewear and jewelry coming up soon, and so on and so forth. So we are being very inventive about the use cases that need to ride on the network. And we are obviously evaluating on the customer end whether these things will work, but from our end, we are rapidly provisioning. So that's really what I wanted to say.
All right, all right. So coming to you, Gopi sir, if
Yes,
you
Gopi.
can give your Reliance Industries perspective that how the whole network infrastructure has evolved, and as sir said, if we can give some use cases that will be really helpful for the audience.
Okay, so thank you. Actually, Ashok gave a very clear brief, and Mr. Krishnan also. See, the overall perspective, if you look at it, I put it in a two segments. No matter which industry we have, either we have life science or schools or manufacturing or oil and gas or retail or ISP business, if you look at any industry within ourselves, we put it in a two category. One is a data center piece where other people and largely our internal and external people to connect. And another one is the end user piece where they have to get connected, no matter what, wherever they are. So to do that, the conscious call has been taken quite some time back. We avoid the desktops as much possible. That's the first call we have taken, which is benefiting a lot actually, which is many of my colleagues and friends, they went through that a lot of difficult times on, getting a laptop quick, difficult, and ask them to take the desktop to their home, and their home is not ready with the facilities and connecting wireless, and then say to secure them to connect via VPN or certificate installations or whatever it is. There is a plenty of hustles they went through, and even when we had another discussion with the other enterprise like a Gartner and other entire team, they appreciated. They said it is how much call you got, they said, and surprisingly, how many calls I used to get, the number of ticket reduced after work from home. That is a surprising fact. Because of the smooth connectivity. And nowadays, the beautiful thing is the 4G connections, it's able to survive and sufficiently give the basic needs, whatever we are having it. Unless you are a heavy engineering users or a heavy graphical designer, or unless that. And that also we found certain solutions via SaaS-based service model. We are able to provision virtual systems and enabling the remote desktops kind of model from Microsoft as well as Citrix way. Still, they are able to achieve that. So in that way, that's why the noise is very less. When the noise is less, the business is happy. And are they able to see that? That's why we are able to enable in the day one itself in a easy way, to be honest. But in the infrastructure side, it is not quite easy immediately. But we handling in a way which is little effort on that particular period in the March time. Then if you look at it, it is seamless. And second is it's almost like a self-assessment for our data centers also. Without humans, are we in a sustainable position? So are we in a position to survive in the data centers? Because sending an engineer from different places and putting them in data center, it is a challenge. And they also have a family, and ask them to stay in office and continuously in this kind of situation. And many community won't allow also, coming back from after 10 days or 5 days. So we understood that, and which helped, and it won't happen in overnight. That's what I feel. Even we start now, we may achieve it in certain time. The good that we started in little advance, so the lessons, everything is benefiting right now. That's what I can add it to that.
All right, all right. So before I come to you, Ashok, probably I'd like again to throw one round of questions to Krishnan sir and Gopi sir. Um, Probably any of you can take it. Like, we know that the current scenario which Krishnan sir you mentioned about, where there is a requirement of more seamless collaboration and support, especially from the remote workforce perspective. So in this scenario, while this is totally unprecedented, nobody would have expected that something like this would occur. Uh, Looking at this kind of scenario, what's your preparedness to make your organizational network infrastructure more intelligent, more agile, so that in the coming future, something like this happens, there's no kind of downtime and no kind of worries at all in your organization's mind?
We are kind of there in a sense, right? And in fact, the last 2 decades, consumer technologies have actually outstripped what corporates have been able to invest. So we as individuals actually have a much richer connectivity experience than we as professionals, if you were to separate the two. And frankly, the line is also blurring. So with adequate security on the end device, it's possible to mix the two also, though organizations may have different levels of caution around doing that. Having said that, again, it comes back to the context, right? Now, if you take Titan, for example, we have a design team which creates all the beautiful products that I hope many of you do love and I'm sure many of you do buy, right? Now, for this team to come up with the next beautiful piece of jewelry or the next generation of watches, we do find that it needs that face-to-face interaction quotient, right? Real creativity comes when people are together and in a certain context. Our offices are also designed to be able to fuel that. Now, can that happen work from home? Our design colleagues are examining that. But even today, I can tell you frankly, they're coming to the conclusion that they need to be in office to get that spark, because the spark really is a very human one, right? But when it comes to say supply chains and let's say the digital team's own work, which involves maintenance and continuous improvement of systems, the work from home quotient is much higher, right? And today we are already on the cloud. Our data center itself is mostly VMs, and we have the connectivity for our own team as well as for our users, which is all secure. We have proxy on the cloud. I mean, like I said, I think the audience would be completely familiar with all the technologies that are available today. I won't get into them. But really speaking, it is a case of fine-tuning use cases to be able to serve a community, right? And the largest community that
Right.
we have to be concerned about as a company is our own customers. So, can our customers, for example, experience a piece of jewelry as close as coming into a store? That's one of the big questions occupying us, right? In eyewear, we have solved it to a certain extent. If you visit our eyewear site, I think you'll enjoy the experience of virtual try-on, which has come out quite well, even though I'm the one who says so, right? But jewelry a little more difficult. So, really speaking, there is a set of use cases that is engaging us, but from a general perspective, I think in terms of being able to manage a data center remotely, like Gopi just mentioned, and the cloud infrastructure of course is there, and our e-commerce is hosted on the cloud, and also certain other capabilities as well. So in that sense, we are in a good space. We are able to manage internally as a team. It's really external stakeholders who we need to examine, and even among them mostly our customers, especially since we are a B2C company.
All right. All right.
Excellent. So
Okay, so your take
in
on
my
this?
view, yes, sir. Thank you. Actually, collaboration piece, actually, in earlier stage, we also used to believe that it's a audio video largely. So that is what we used to feel. And then this Teams came and changed a lot of revolutions like sharing files and open all this. Then we thought, okay, that is the only thing, or is there more than that? Then actually, it was a very detailed experiment, to be honest. I don't know, in my entire career, we all spend that much time on that particular piece. Then we realized, we thought, collaboration is not just audio video or file sharing. Then we integrated everything. You won't believe it, all our last 2 months, entire resources we onboarded only via Teams. And they are operating smoothly and very seamlessly. They are operating in their respective houses. And only via Teams, there is a training done, onboarding done, work has been done, task allocations done, and they are updating everything and 100% everything on Teams, and they are collaborating and they are feeling very good also. So then the same time, then we are talking about how about achieving the company mission and vision and KPI goals, KRA integrations and all these things. Then when we integrated our like a workboard kind of things along with the teams, multiple channels has been created, multiple things has been created, multiple automations enabled along with that. We are able to excellently collaborate on that. Then we are talking about the project management. What are the pieces? Same collaboration tool helped us. And in a way, we are able to interact. Okay. Other than that, if you look at the any other services, even you look at the education segment like LMS services or whatever it is, learning management, entire schools and everything we onboarded only via Teams. So entire students and all our LMS services, trainings, whatever the things we have, integrated only via simple collaboration tools. But the collaboration become active. You won't believe it. Every day, on average, at least we'll have something at least more than 30-40,000 meetings within the collaborations, and file sharings, audio video integrations is happening. And over and above, we come with our own product also. With that, we are able to integrate with anywhere in the world, and we can integrate with you have any legacy systems or Cisco or Turnberg or life says or any system, we are able to integrate and collaborate with the same tool and with many things, which is helping us. Recently, wherever we build the hospital for COVID and other things, we enable for that. So the doctor, wherever they are sitting, and we are integrating with our ERP systems and the same tool, audio, video, along with the file sharing, prescriptions without touching it, and the term, all other IoT devices integrated with that. You can do everything, wonders. And right now, the recent hospitals like Mumbai, 7L, and many other hospitals, our own hospitals, we integrated that, and is a quite relief for many doctors also, because they no need to go and interact in a person. So, and over and above, our own people also live, they can interact with the people, with a lot of doctors and consultants. And we made it as a mandatory. Everyone, every day, all the employee or partner resource, it doesn't matter. They have to update their, are they safe and sound? The symptom checker is fine. Same like our case, we have our own, which is going on since the day the work from home started. So it's helping us, which is a collaboration. To be honest, it's a very huge, large topic. If you, it's really huge. But in a way, we are there, and it is a good white paper. We can do that if you ask me.
Agreed, agreed. So coming to you, Ashok, we heard both industry leaders giving some fantastic use cases and examples how the technology is being leveraged to the T. So from Comscope perspective, so with your efficient and elegant solutions, how are you helping enterprises to quickly build, optimize, and at the same time operate their networks? So how are you managing that?
Okay, yeah, I mean, both Gopi and Krishnan gave some very good insights. And, interestingly, for all those applications to work, whether, the key point is the collaboration tool, and then like onboarding tool or the designer's efficiency. So all this, we provide a lot of network design support, design architectures where it gives you the flexibility, and also especially now when you look at the data centers, everything is becoming the cloud architecture, right? And then how do we provide the key point in the cloud architecture is how do you lower your latency and how do you service your users in a better way, right? And so we provide solutions for that. And in today's scenario now, you want to know how your data center, your network is working, sitting in a remote place, we have the solutions for that. And so that way we provide all types of critical solutions.
Okay, okay. So whether you have mentioned about cloud and even Krishnan sir touched upon it. So I would like to understand from the customer perspective. So as we know that hybrid cloud models are being adopted largely by businesses houses, but while doing so, they struggle kind of to maintain and scale their networks and manage them to effectively avoid multiple failures, point of failures. So how do you have you kind of simplified the management of the massive complex networks and increase availability in a cloud model?
Sorry, should I take it?
So when we say that when we are seeing enterprises increasingly looking at hybrid model from the cloud perspective, they struggle to maintain and scale their networks and manage effectively the multiple points of failure. So how have you kind of simplified the management of the complex networks and at the same time increase availability in the cloud model?
See, availability in the cloud model by definition is of a higher order than most organizations can invest in on average, right? That's what the cloud is there for. And from an Indian perspective, many companies perhaps do pay more per year than you might pay for, let's say, your own data center. And that's what you pay for. You pay for scale up, scale out, and all other virtues, especially in our context where our purchases really spike up at certain points in the year, right? And so therefore we need that capacity. But having said that, our ERPs are in-house. They are in our own data center. So we use SAP and Oracle. We host them internally, while our e-commerce is on the cloud. And so therefore, there is obviously a data interchange. And so in that sense, we are hybrid. We don't have a single payload that is both on the cloud and on-prem, and we try to toggle. We are not doing that yet. I'm not aware of too many organizations that do that. But we already today have computing resources within our data center on the cloud. And finally, again, like I've said, it comes down to the use case and the data integration required, and whether it is required real time or whether it can be done batch. So a great deal of the network design just comes from the intended application. So we have rolled out a CRM to all our stores also, and now the pressure to make the CRM near real time is very high. And so therefore, across our millions of customers who are in our loyalty database and who visit us, are we able to actually engage with them in real time across the web and the store? That's a slightly different use case. We are examining that. That may need more investment. Actually, it's not techno functionally difficult. It just needs more money to be able to invest.
Oh,
But
mhm.
again, here the options are available. It's a question of creatively putting them together, right? And being able to justify the cost. I think probably at that level, Gopi would agree with me, while obviously you'll have more examples to share.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
sir, if you
On
can share your example.
yes, I'll the strategy. I look in slightly different view, to be honest, because the moment we talk about the pieces, the end user computing piece, I look at it in the two ways. One is the traditional legacy way where we can need to give the traditional systems and secure the endpoints, encryption, security of certificates, how we can enable even Wi-Fi also they cannot access unless that, and protect them, and they cannot access certain applications, they cannot have a certain privileges. So we are controlling the endpoints as much possible, right? So that's a typical way we do that. Now, what happened when this thing started, work from home largely compared to before, now is largely started. That's was the pain actually everyone went through because of they said, I want to enable USB. Now I cannot connect my Bluetooth. I cannot connect my this system. I cannot connect do this. So when they go through the hustle, which is a genuine thing, actually, it's a very, very practical thing. But if you look at the security angle, of course, in a security angle, we will not agree with them on many things. We will say that it is good for the company, we have to do that. Then when we look at the model, the SaaS-based model, that is what, the zero trust model or overall things on, NAC and other services and identity management. Simple example, you take a Facebook or Google or anything, you log in Facebook and are you validated this device? If you logged in, it will validate, it will not, it will ask you to authenticate one more time via OTP or authenticator app or whatever it is. And simple as that. So it doesn't care, which device you are accessing it. So when we look at that strategy, it is a big turnaround. It is like a BYOD kind of concept. When you look at that, it doesn't matter even your entire laptop or desktop having a completely virus and completely impacted, and it is not fixable kind of thing, for example. Still, you can access Facebook will allow you to use it. It doesn't care you have a virus. So I think that is the best model going forward. But the challenge will come on the migrations of our legacy systems. That's where the microservices and Kubernetes kind of things will come into the picture of. You let it live like that. Even you take a Warner Brothers, I got a chance to talk to Warner Brothers CIO last time. He mentioned the same. Today also, if you watch Good, Bad, Ugly, he is getting some money they have to transfer to Clint Eastwood and that family. Because of that, they have to keep the old SAP, which is a very, very old 3 to 4 version of SAP. Still, they are keeping it. And the top of it, they build that same Netflix model of microservices. They can connect each other without damaging or changing the source code, changing anything. You just do that. Simple as that. And second is when we enable the self-services model, anything, without API, we don't do anything we build also, we do that in API or any other integrated way. Tomorrow, we no need to touch that application. So without that, we can manage a lot of things. Otherwise, whatever the model we follow, Agile or Scrum or whatever the model we follow, uh, things never going to get satisfied. And many people doesn't have certain visibility that once the moment you show the demo, then oh, this application does this. Okay, I need these are the additional features, and can you enable that? Actually, it's become business requirement, become then particular individual things. If you may always notice on one thing, like whenever there is a leadership change in any company, of course they will say that things are happening in this almost wrong, and they will try to prove that this is the right. That's happening anywhere. And political climate change or economical climate change or like a COVID situation came, anything come, of course, we have to get do something about it, and it will get impact us immediately. So it will impact our data center, the way we do, the link, the way we do end user computing piece, where we do, because your budget may slash, or it may get certain focus may change from your security may change to this way, or cloud may increase to that way. So all these things will happen. So how much are we flexible enough to ready for it? Overcome with that. That is a good point to think about. Seamless way, instead of keep adding multiple devices, instead of, okay, other company bought IDS, IPS, HIPS, should I need it? It's completely different, right? So it is may not required for us, maybe in a way we operate. So maybe it's not an ideal situation. So that's where it's important to self-evaluate and do the right pickup. There is hundreds and millions of solutions available if you go there. If you talk to any Israeli person, he will talk only about security, nothing else. He will talk about all the security, cyber security attacks. He will tell you the entire world where you are 79%, everything is getting attacked, how you can protect yourself. If you talk to European people, they will give you completely a different perspective, how you can integrate the IoT, how you can integrate business management systems or building management system, how you can enable it here, and how we can control remotely, and how we can enable it. So, that we can go on that. So the bottom line is, instead of focusing that, the switch, it's already started. The paradigm shift already started. No more end user computing and antivirus and many other things will go away slowly. That is what I'm able to see that.
All right. So obviously we'll have some few questions related on these lines from the audience also, as I can see on my screen. So in the paucity of time, probably I'll take one parting comment from all three of you. Probably can I ask with you, Mr. Krishnan? As we know that organizations are embracing digital technologies and to gain agility, flexibility, and then speed. And as applications take center stage, the network will also need to keep pace with those demands of new applications. So do you think there's a need for future-ready solutions that converges traffic over a single network and offers seamless connectivity? And what are some of the new technologies that you are evaluating for your future growth as such?
Krishnan
When
sir,
you
or
say
me?
when it's a single network, I have a difficulty with that, frankly. I would rather have multiple options open, right? It's like having only one flyover. So, जब बंद पड़ा तो बंद हो गया, right? So, I mean, all of us who have to worry about infrastructure continuity have to design for multiple paths, right? And they could involve multiple technologies as well, depending on availability, right? So, like I said, I think it's true for every company now. We have systems that work on the phone, on the end user device, and can be accessed through multiple paths. Whatever people used to do on the desktop or the laptop, we have created apps that fulfill at least some of the functions. So, for example, all this purchase order approval and all these things that occur in thousands and don't need much functionality, I'm sure all companies have migrated them to some app or the other. Right? Makes it ridiculously simple for senior folks to approve. And like I said, it finally comes down to use case. So if the use case vision of the enterprise is clear, then all these things can be provisioned. And if you have a reasonably balanced approach to security and say that, for example, two-factor authentication of a certain kind is good enough and it minimizes risk to an acceptable extent, then you're cool. It's possible to overdo security, for example, and then the organization is paralyzed. And so therefore, but again, options are there today. And we have people who are expert enough to be able to advise and advise very quickly. You can contact us if you want.
Great.
Excellent.
Gopi, your comments
Yeah,
on.
I can give you quickly two example only. Use case may be helpful. One is pharmaceutical things actually. I don't know. You ever wonder that sometime you take a medicine and it works, and after some time when you have the same medicine, it may not work. So when we realize that, and that time we find out how the technology can help here, then we realize that three different things. When the manufacturing happening, there are people opening the doors multiple times. They will open the three different doors or windows in multiple times. The temperature variations, it's setting up, it taking some time, and that particular movement, the chemical may react slightly different. Then the warehouse, we supposed to keep it in certain temperature, and that more than that many minutes also there is an alert or sensors. It's helping us to move that. Then there is a certain temperature medicines you have to take into the truck, and the truck supposed to move in that particular speed or whatever it is. The temperature supposed to maintain. When we have a particular sensor and along with the IoT and blockchain model, we are able to find out, okay, sometimes this guy completely powering off everything and sleeping for 1 hour. So we are able to vehicle tracking as well as the temperature management, and along with the blockchain with the IoT, it's helped the use case. It solved a lot of pharmaceutical problem, but just by thinking the converting the use case into technology. The similar the COVID situation right now, what we are doing is like a Cisco DNA space, they call it. Similarly, all other there is so many other solutions are there. I'm just giving one example. Using the same access point, it will be able to tell you nearby how many people are they really following social distance in your within the limited space. So tomorrow, when we are opening our store or any other offices or anywhere, or even the conference is happening tomorrow, I hope it will happen soon. So when it's happening, are we really following the social distance only by connecting your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, whatever it is? So the technology, the connectivity portion, no matter which you provider you are going to use, it's irreplaceable anyway. Only the thing is how the architecture going to design. Because certain country, I'll tell you, like a Dubai is there or some other countries, they will not allow other second ISP at all. So, but we have to survey. Many African countries, they never allow second ISP. So we will creep the same ISP. Even in India, we do that with the ring topology. So multiple AS2 and multiple hubs. In physically you get damaged, still you are able to go through different way. The parts failure, hardware failure, connectivity failure, fiber failure, spare parts failure, whatever it is. Still you are able to get it. If everywhere is down, then it's a disaster. Anyway, then God will help us. But still we are able to manage in more or less. That's what I can tell it in two pieces.
So, Ashok, any word of assurance from your end, from Conspo's perspective?
Yeah, like Krishnan and Gopi both were talking about how in a larger space, more about the WAN network and all, which is very important, and which is the real example. And we provide the assurances to the inside networks, right? Whether it's a data center or in a building or in a campus, we help to provide the world-class infrastructure. So whether it's like what Krishnan was giving an example. Today we have more and more endpoints coming onto the network. Whether you talk about an IoT or like for example the watch is coming onto the network, and the cameras are coming onto the network. You have everything coming onto the network, and so it's so important that you build the network in a very critical way, and then you allow it to grow on its own, and then provide the
Yeah,
service.
absolutely. Just to add, I mean, I saw a poster recently. I'm sure many of us have. Right? There's a kid holding up a phone, a rather small kid. It says, till now the mobile phone was not allowed in school, but now the school is in the phone. So from one point of
That's
view,
very correct. Very
it is a
correct.
sad event. It is a sad event from one perspective. Hopefully, our kids are able to get back to school soon and enjoy with each other in a very face-to-face and physical way. I hope that happens soon. But in the meanwhile, that's a reality. What to do? In fact, my wife is an educator, and there was a conference yesterday, I think a national one, among principals of how to deliver e-education. I know we don't have the time here, but absolutely, I mean, the level of detail to which they are examining how kids will operate at home, really insightful. In a way, tragic, but that's a different topic for a different forum.
Right.
Adding to one line on that, see, the work from home not only limited to the thin client or desktop or laptop or personal device, even certain places we enable the smart TV with the Android box also as a work from home. So that is also logical. Already is there actually. It is nothing is new.
Yes.
It's already there.
All right. So thank you. Thanks a lot for sharing those real life use cases and sharing your experiences. So we'll
Thank
just quickly
you.
touch upon few audience questions which we already have. So I'll just start with first question, which is from Mr. Anand Balakrishnan, and he wants to know from you, Ashok, that how do you support main and redundant link in home environment? What are the recommended link speeds for home environment?
Okay, in today's situation, there is no straight answer for that. The reason is, see, earlier we used to use the home networks only maybe like weekend browsing or a weekend email, right? But today, that's the main thing. And so we use the home networks for anything and everything. And so, and then also it depends on a particular user, right? And so there is no bottom or a straight line answer for it, but it is important to have I mean, if it is so critical, like the classic example is Krishnan was mentioning about how do you make the designer work from home and then give you the output as well, right? And so there the link becomes very, very critical. The connectivity becomes very critical for them, right? And so in those kind of cases, you need to have maybe from different service providers. And luckily in India, you can have the option of having as one wireless and one wired. So you can opt for different technologies available.
Okay, all right. So again, from Mr. Anand Balkishan, only there is a question for you, Krishnan sir. He wants to know how are you cloud managing Wi-Fi and network both at corporate and retail locations?
See, we have a fairly complex retail setup. It's not just Titan's own stores, but franchisees also. So what we do is to set standards and go with what's available locally, right? So again, budget also comes in. So you might have a not very large World of Titan watches store or an eyewear store, which might be just a few hundred square feet. And then you contrast that with the jewelry Tanish store, which is like multiple floors. So wherever the store is bigger and obviously the expectation of business is higher, the networks are more sophisticated. We will have two providers and right, and obviously we look at the wireless option as well, so on. But yes, I think again is a question of where the store is located, and the location of the store is really to do with catchment. And the minimum connectivity is available in most places of India, but really speaking, we want people to be able to come in conveniently. So we locate the store for our customers, make do with what network is available. Most of the time it is good, right? We don't have faced too many downtimes. Now again, here it comes to the design of the specific system. So for example, our point of sale, it has to operate locally, right? The store might lose connectivity for a few precious hours, but we cannot have a customers waiting, nor can we keep issuing manual bills, right? So at least the local functions of the
Right.
POS minimum have to work. But at the same time, we have a cloud aggregator component of the POS which gets all transactions from all stores, sends back master data. So again, it comes back to the application use case and how do you design for it. And again, India is, I think, good enough in this area for many options to be available in many parts of the country. We are not bad at all, I would say. Just a question of
Mhm.
creatively
All
putting
right.
what's available.
All right. All right. So this question to you, Gopi, Mr. Anand Balkishan wants to know what are the speeds you envisage for your data centers and also architecture roadmap.
See, it's purely a business driven. See, for example, it's a two ways. One is we may know some thousands of technology. It doesn't mean we have to put it right. So we put it which is business required. The same thing is applicable to links. I have a big pipeline. It doesn't mean I have to put everything. It's purely based on how we are allocating it and how we are routing it and how we are making it redundancy with the more safe and secure. So typical example is there is a, if you have a business requirement of online transaction with the money transaction is there along with the data load with the multiple direct internet. Based on that, if you have 100, a simple example is one per store may consume maybe per day 50 GB maximum. That's the assumption. So you can multiply by multiple stores with multiple people. You take example of like one hotel business. They have around 10,000 hotels across India, and they want to connect TVs, internet, everything together. Average one hotel store may consume per large community maybe 10 GB or per person 5 GB, then 10 people in per location. So you can multiply that. Concurrent sessions will be multiplied into data center with the 50% buffer. That's what the standard we do that. So in a way, we have a multi-gig actually everywhere, which is we hope you know that with the Hathway, DNA, and multiple streaming and IPTV, Geo FTTH, and multiple things. So it's a source. So it's really huge actually. Are you receiver or provider? That make a difference.
Okay. So there's one question to you, Ashok, is that since wireless is providing higher speeds, do we really need wires to connect?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. Now, the actual truth is, of course, the wireless is giving higher data rates today. For example, like the new 11AX is supposed to give you 10 gig, but how do you take it back to the network? Okay, now, so that's where you need the wireless. So without wires, the wireless doesn't make any sense. So wires are needed for connecting the wireless.
I think just to add, it would be instructive to understand how Google and Facebook and the like replicate within their own data centers. They don't use networks. They actually transfer data on media.
Right.
So traveling with, say, several tapes actually has more bandwidth than a network could provide.
Fantastic. Great.
Cool.
So with this, we have the question from the audience, and thank you, panelists, Mr. Krishna and Gopi, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your valuable time, sharing your experience with the audience. I'm sure there were a lot of key takeaways for everyone out here, and especially in these tough times, if you get to learn something from people like you all, what best we can ask for. So thank you once again. Thank you, Ashok, for being part of this, and we'll try to connect soon. Thank you. Stay safe. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
audience.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you
Bye.
very much, everyone. Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.